Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another exciting session on Unacademy CAT-alyst. I am Parikshit, your Quants and LRDI mentor on the Unacademy Plus platform. As always, the first thing I tell you is give me 10 seconds to ensure that I'm streaming live before we get started. Yeah, I think we are streaming live and I think we are good to start. So good morning once again. I am Parikshit and today's session is going to be about the last 20 days, right? We are almost there, just before the finish line, and we need to cross the finish line. So it is very important that in these 20 days, you follow the correct strategy and make a correct plan. So the next 15 to 20 minutes, I'm just going to help you out to have derive the maximum efficiency, okay, from within yourself in these last 20 days. Let's talk more about the last 20 days. How should you plan the days ahead? Okay, so the session is going to be about three parts. The 20 days to the CAT 2020, the do's and don'ts, and important topics for your CAT. Okay. So first, let's start with the how, what to practice, and from where to practice. Okay. So these 20 days, right? I will want to divide it into two parts first. You need to practice. Obviously, you are spending probably 10 hours, 12 hours, or probably 15 hours a day. So I want to spend how should you practice, okay, and what to practice. Very, very, very important. It is not just about hard work. It is also, trust me, about hard plus smart work, okay? So the smart work is gonna what I'm focused on, because I know that all of you are probably putting in a lot of hours at this stage, right? So let's talk about these two aspects, the how and the what part of it. Okay. Now, first thing, I understand a lot of you have an anxiety about one specific thing. What is that? You are not doing well in your mocks. Okay. So first thing is, how many mocks should I take more in these last 20 days? And the role of mocks in this last 20 days becomes equally important. Okay. Now, first part is, I don't know how many hours you are studying, and this would rather vary from people to people. Someone might be putting in 10 hours, someone might be putting in 6 hours, and someone else might be putting in 15 hours. Now, what I would want to ensure is that first you divide your time into three parts. That's the first thing of it. We'll come to the mocks, and I will put the mocks in these three sections. Okay. Now, first is time. These last 20 days, right? Please divide your time into three categories. First is for revision. First is for revise, is to revise. Second is to study something new, new questions, okay? And third, a chapters probably you are not comfortable. Chapters not done properly, not done properly. Trust me, this strategy will make wonders if you follow it stringently. Chapters not done properly. Now, trust me, revision should definitely be 60% of your total time. Your total time in these last 20 days, 60% of your time should be devoted to revision. Revision of things you have already done. Why? It's not about how many mocks can I be doing one mock every day. Will it ensure that I get good marks? No, that is not what you need to do. Trust me, you probably have spent last 4 months or 5 months preparing a lot of things. It would be really and really unfortunate if on the day of the exam you are not able to recall something you have already studied. At this point in time, if I give you an example, orthocenter or circumcenter, do the words come as Latin and Greek to you? Or probably you think, oh, I heard about them, but I can't recall. Do you remember the properties of the incenter of a triangle? Right? Do you remember the relation between the circumcenter and the sides? These are just examples. So please make sure that you put a lot of emphasis on revision. Revision of questions you have already done and revision of previously appeared mocks. Right? You must have already given a lot of mocks, probably in the month of June, July, August, and now you don't even remember the questions. It is now time to go back, open those mocks and practice them once again. Trust me, it is no point studying something new if you can't recall what you have already done. So please spend a lot of time on revision. If you are spending 10 hours a day on your studies from today for the next 20 days, 6 hours out of the 10 should be on revision of chapters and questions you have already done. Now, when I say revise, the next thing you will ask me is, okay, revision from where? Okay. Now, when you are revising, it's very, very important that you do mix revision. Okay. When I say mix revision, I mean it should not be like entire 5 hours a day I revise PNC. Please do not do that. And the next 10 days I don't touch PNC. That's not revision. When I say revision, I mean I want you to divide it into 5 equal blocks. 5 equal blocks. First, arithmetic. Next, algebra. Third, geometry. Fourth, numbers. And fifth is modern maths, where you talk about PNC and probability. Modern maths, PNC and probability. Divide each of these into slots of 40 minutes each. 40 minutes each. 40 minutes each of them. Okay. So when I say 40 minutes slot, I mean to say in the first 40 minutes, okay, probably you expect that in the CAT we are expecting how many questions in the quants? Probably around 25 questions. Around 25 questions, let's say. So what should you do? You in a span of 40 minutes, please pick up 5 arithmetic questions, 5 algebra, 5 geometry, and so on. Now, from where? You might be practicing from a book, you might be practicing from a PDF, you might have attended a class, you might have made notes, right? So please make sure that at this point in time, let's say you're very comfortable with level of difficulty level 1, okay, and you are practicing from a book, then you should only be revising LOD 2, level of difficulty 2. Or let's say you are preparing from your class PDFs. If it is your class PDFs, please make sure, okay, class 1 always is the basic, the fundamentals. So class 1, I am thorough. So what you need to do every day from each of the chapters, like, okay, let's say from class 2 PDFs, okay, what you do, you pick up question number 1 to question 5 first day. Question 1 to question 5 from, let's say, time and work. Question 1 to question 5 from time and distance. Question 1 to 5 from geometry, and so on. And you please take a note of it that on the 2nd, let's say today is the 2nd of November, the 2nd of November, I have done all PDFs question 1 to 5. So tomorrow when you start, you probably will be starting from question number 6 to question 10 from all the PDFs, right? And divide it into slots. As I say, slots of 40 minutes, because this is the time interval that you are looking at in your exam, right? So very important. Now, why you might be feeling, why am I saying mix? Because you know what, let's say if I am solving geometry questions, you know what, all the theorems I have just studied and it is there fresh in my mind, I'm able to solve sums. But suddenly I give you 25 questions and the 25th question is on the property of the centroid of a triangle. It is at that point in time, a lot of people, a lot of students often find it challenging to recall the centroid of a triangle property. That shouldn't be the case. And that particular difficulty can be avoided if you do mixed revision in these last 20 days. Okay. So please break the 40 minutes into 5 zones and pick up 5 questions from each of the zones. Now the next question will be, can I solve 25 questions? No, you cannot. Whatever you feel you cannot solve, it is taking more time, just leave it. But make sure that you treat it as a mini mock, okay? You are replicating the mock environment in your exam. So do I mean to say you study only for 40 minutes a day? No, probably you will have 40 minutes, 3 slots. Quants 40, 40, 40. So 2 hours of quants every day, but you are breaking it into slots of 40 each. Similarly, LRDI 40, 40, 40, 40 each. Now in these 40 minutes, please be away from your WhatsApp. Please don't get distracted. At the end of 40 minutes, switch on your mobile, speak to people, whatever you want to do, take a 10 minutes break, come back and study again. It will ensure that your efficiency is really high when you study in short intervals. That's point number 1. The second point that I need to talk about here is, for a lot of these questions that you are practicing at this point of time, right? This is probably the last time you are solving that question. You probably might not get time again to come back and revise. Okay, so what can happen? It can happen that you probably have come across a very good concept, or probably a formula, on, let's say, the difference between SI and CI for 3 years. There is a shortcut. Okay, you might forget the shortcut. Can I have an Excel sheet and write down all the formulas and my own notes? Prepare your own notes. When I say notes, I basically mean formulas, or probably a shortcut, or probably something where you're making a mistake every now and then, right? Why do I say? Because a day before your exam, on the 28th of November, okay, you are just gonna come and open this Excel sheet. One day before your exam, you're not gonna study. You do not have the time to search the pages that you have written. So you have one Excel sheet, a big Excel sheet. You have all the formulas written, and just a day before your exam, take your time, use your own leisure time, and look at these formulas once again a day before your exam. So please make sure that you are preparing your own notes for the penultimate day, a day before your exam. The next part is the revision. Okay, revision is 60% of your time. Next part is new. Now 20% of each of the remaining 25 odd days, okay, 20% of your time should be focused on solving something new. Why? Because let's take an example. Let's say you are attempting a comprehension. Okay? Now, if you have already read the comprehension once before, probably 3 months before, but once you read it, there are a few subtle things which your mind will be aware of from the very before. Even before you reading the question, you know that, okay, this might be the answer, or this is why option A is incorrect. But on the exam day, right, everything is gonna be new. So please make sure that 20% of your daily total hours that you study is something that you study completely new. A new comprehension, a new LRDI caselet, and probably a new quants questions which you have never touched before. But remember, just 20% of your total time. Now, what should be the source? From where should you practice? The best way to practice would be from mocks. Now, does it mean I give a mock every day? No, it doesn't mean you appear for a mock. It means there might be a mock which probably you missed, you did not give, or probably there is a PDF which you have not attempted yet, or there is a book whose questions you have not solved yet. Just take them out, and solve. Start a 40-minute timer. 40-minute timer for verbal, for LRDI, and for quants. So basically 40, 2 hours a day you spend on solving new questions which you have never done before. And once those 2 hours are over, spend another 1 hour or 2 hours on analyzing those questions. So these are basically not mock questions, but your own chosen questions. Okay, own chosen questions which you want to practice every day, and completely new questions, especially for verbal and LRDI. Why? Because if you have solved the LRDI set before, your brain already has a part of that information. Your memory has something already known beforehand, which should not be the case. And analyze in these 1 and 2 hours, what are the things that went wrong? Did you pick up the wrong questions? Treat it like a mini mock. I hope I'm making sense. If you have queries, you can always post it in the comment section, and I'll be glad to answer them. The third part is the last 20%, right? So in a day, I want you to divide your time into 3 parts: 60, 20, 20. What is the remaining 20%? These are chapters which you have not done properly, and you want to spend some time on it. Example, trigonometry. The small chapters, probably these are chapters which people often leave. Trigonometry, could be coordinate geometry, could be installments, right? Could be elevators. So please look at concepts, small chapters, or probably graphs and functions which you have not done properly. Make sure that 20% of your time in a day is devoted to new chapters, not done prior. Now, why? Does it mean that arithmetic, algebra, geometry, numbers, and modern maths is not important? No. I often get students asking me the query, sir, last 2 years they have not asked any questions from numbers. Should I leave numbers? Trust me, it would be a risk if you do that. It would be a great risk if you do that. Why? CAT is known for surprises. The person who is setting the paper knows what are the topics students are likely to avoid. If numbers haven't shown up on the CAT paper for the last 3 years, I would rather say there is a very good chance that it would show up this year, right? So you should not leave numbers. And because let's say you leave it, and you might be thinking, what happens? Even if it comes, there will be only 3 questions. But just imagine, if these 3 questions are very easy, if the remaining 1,50,000 students are able to solve it, and you are the one, because you never picked up numbers, you cannot solve it, you will be at a disadvantage. So do not do that. Make sure that you touch every topic which is there. Okay. So 60% of your time daily is for revision, 20% is for new questions. Okay. So from mock papers, previous mock papers, and 20% from chapters which you have not done properly. Next thing is mocks. Next thing at this point of your time is mocks. Okay, how many mocks should you give? Now at this point of time, maximum you can give another 3 or 4 mocks. Maximum in the last 20 days. Don't give more than that. Or even if you want to give more than that, probably how many? 5, at the max 5 mocks in the next 20 days. Not more than that. Okay. Even if you give the mock, do not look at your percentile and get disappointed. Rather, look at the mock as a source of new quality questions. Source of new quality questions. Because questions will be really good if you are appearing from one of the standard providers of mocks in the market. Source of new questions. Treat it as a source of new questions and do it likewise. Do not look at your percentile. There is no point getting disappointed in this last few days. Especially if there is one mock where the difficulty level is very high. You never know. But you know the pattern of the CAT, the difficulty level has actually decreased over the last few days. So it is very important that 5 mocks, but please make sure that you go back and revise all mocks that you took right from, let's say, June or July. If there is a mock you gave in June, you don't remember anything, trust me, you have wasted the hours that you spend there, right? So you need to go back and look up those questions and solve it once again. So the ultimate 6-letter word for success at this point of time is revision. Revise, and revise, right? Now, some do's and don'ts outside your preparation. Now remember, I have told you in one of my previous videos also, it is very important to stay safe in this last few days. Imagine, God forbid, this doesn't happen, someone catches a COVID, right? You have to go into quarantine period in the last few days, which you definitely want to avoid. So at this point of time, take extra precautions to stay safe. And if you are in a different city, let's say your center is Delhi, but probably now you are now in your hometown in Bihar, and you need to go back to Delhi, please make sure that you travel well in advance, because you don't know, there might be a COVID test, and you never know if there is any quarantine period. Be aware of the rules and regulations and be there in your exam city at least 1 or 2 weeks prior to the exam days, especially in these last few days when there is a pandemic going around, right? So please make sure that you are well prepared. The next part is important topics. Now, as I was saying, the most important topic in quants is arithmetic. If you look at the questions from previous years, arithmetic constitutes a major portion. What is arithmetic? Time, speed and distance, time and work, ratio and proportion, percentages, profit, loss and discount, SICI, right? So all these topics fall under arithmetic. Please make sure that this is one area which you really need to do well. But again, does it mean you leave out other topics? No, you cannot leave out just any topic, because CAT at the end of the day is known for surprises. What about LRDI? LRDI, please put strong emphasis on traditional LR sets like circular arrangement, linear arrangement, then distribution, comparison, a bar graph, a pie chart. Why? Because these questions, if they come, you have prepared them well in advance and you'll be able to solve. But if there is a puzzle which probably you have never seen before, right? It's new to you and it's new to someone who has done no preparation. So put strong emphasis on the fundamentals, on traditional DI sets like the bar diagrams, pie charts, selections, sitting arrangements, because if they come, you should be able to do it. These are sets you cannot leave out under any circumstances. And what about verbal? Please make it a point to do at least 3 comprehension passages daily. Three or 4. It might be you do not do them at a stretch. Don't do them at a stretch. Probably you are getting bored with once. You spend some time with verbal doing 2 passages. After that, so put gaps, because you know what, when you study in breaks, in short intervals, your efficiency is the highest, and in the last 20 days you definitely want to be working at your maximum efficiency. Any question that anyone wishes to ask before we break? So I think I have covered last 20 days, the do's and don'ts. You have got a fair idea, and it's up to you now to follow what I mentioned. And trust me, if you do this, you are gonna improve a lot. You are gonna improve a lot. Improve a lot in your CAT score and percentile. And this is what all of us are targeting in this last 20 days, right? Okay, thank you so much. I hope you all enjoyed the session. If you have liked my video, please do hit the like button. And I will see you tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. for another session of mine. Till then, goodbye and stay safe.